Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with breaking news as authorities are investigating the discovery of bones in North Fargo. We were alerted to it on social media and found police had set up yellow tape at the scene. Valley News Team's Beth Houle joins us live. Beth, first of all, where are you and what do you have for us?
Yeah, Mike, we're out here at Trollwood Park in North Fargo. Fargo police just moments ago giving us a statement about the scene here tonight in North Fargo. They said that bones were found and the Fargo police and Cass County coroner were both out here to investigate the scene. They say that the bones appear to have been here for some time and they're working now on identifying those remains. I want to take you through the timeline of events tonight, though. Just after 9 o'clock, we received a tip from a woman saying that her teenage son and a friend were walking around the banks of the river here just by Trollwood Park in North Fargo. They said that they found bones that appeared to be human remains. That's when Fargo police and Cass County coroner were called out to the scene to investigate that. When we arrived on scene just after 9:30, there were 2 police cars here and an RV driving back and forth along the park. As you can see, there's caution tape surrounding it now. That's because Fargo police will be here for the remainder of the evening to keep an eye on the scene, making sure nobody is involved here in the park or disturbing the scene in any way as they continue to investigate this. We'll, of course, keep you updated with all the latest, expecting more of an update from Fargo police in the morning. But for now, reporting live in North Fargo at Trollwood Park, Beth Houle, Valley News Live.
Thank you very much, Beth. And look for updates on valleynewslive.com and be sure to download the Valley News Live app for the very latest. In other news tonight, North Dakota businesses can reopen on Friday. Governor Doug Burgum saying earlier today it will include bars, restaurants, health clubs, salons, and other businesses impacted in his executive order issued weeks ago. The governor noted that reopening will be voluntarily. He says that those who are teleworking are encouraging to continue to do so, and schools will continue to administer distance learning to students.
We would replace those on Friday with an executive order that allows businesses to reopen using Phase 1 guidelines. And those Phase 1 guidelines would include everything related to physical distancing, limiting contact, hygiene, masks, etc.
The governor also said further guidelines for the Smart Restart are set to be released tomorrow. During a phone call this afternoon with President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence, Burgum highlighted that North Dakota is using less than 1% of its hospital capacity for COVID-19 patients, ranks 6th in the nation in testing per capita, and has the 5th lowest positive test rate at 4.2%. Speaking of the president, Donald Trump says testing is not going to be a problem, and also called it one of the United States' greatest assets. The president says governors are happy with the testing, and many states are in good shape or trending in that direction. The president additionally says it's up to the governors on how they want to reopen.
Well, we want them to do it. We recommend that they do it as quickly as possible, but safely. We want everyone to be safe. And I think you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of governors get out and they want to open it up.
2 more people have died from coronavirus in North Dakota or with coronavirus in North Dakota, bringing the state's total to 19. Both are from Cass County. They are in their 80s. There are 75% positive cases reported today, with the majority being in Cass and Grand Forks counties. Meanwhile, 5 more patients have been hospitalized, bringing the current hospitalization total to 23. 350 patients are listed as recovered. In Minnesota, 14 more people have died with the coronavirus. The state's death toll now stands at 286. There are 214 more positive cases today, bringing the total to 3,816. The state's health department says 292 people are currently in the hospital. 122 of them are in the ICU. And 1,842 people no longer need isolation and are listed as recovered. Healthcare workers in the region are not excluded from the hardships of COVID-19. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly explains how Sanford Health is stepping up to help out.
Healthcare workers are on the front lines in the fight against COVID-19. Those workers who dedicate themselves to helping others are also facing their own challenges.
We are still understanding what that impact looks like, but right away, some employees had reduced hours. Many had challenges with childcare.
Hinkemeyer also says some of these workers are being directly impacted by the virus and will continue to be going forward. Both their personal and professional lives are seeing changes that they have to overcome, but Sanford Health is making sure its employees don't have to do it alone.
When we were faced with COVID-19 and looking at many of our employees that were going through the challenging times, we thought, how about lifting up our employee crisis fund to just support employees during this time?
Their colleagues came to help in a big way, raising more than $1 million in under a month. Any employee in need can receive up to $1,000 for basic needs like food, clothing, or childcare.
The fund is important because our physicians and our leaders are looking to make sure that we take care of each other. So at Sanford, we believe we're a family. And so when families are going through challenging times, we rally around them and make sure that they're supported.
Coming together when some need it most. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
100% of the money donated goes toward helping Sanford employees. If you would like to contribute, find out how on our VNL News app. Fargo police are warning of a high-risk sex offender in the area. 37-year-old Jason Dvorak is living at 1320 2nd Avenue North in Fargo. He was convicted in December of 2019 in Cass County for engaging in a sexual conversation with an 8-year-old girl on Facebook. He was charged with luring a minor by computer and possession of material sex conduct by a minor. He is a lifetime registrant and has been assessed as a high-risk offender, meaning he is most likely to reoffend. The woman accused of child neglect and the death of a child in her foster care has now been charged with second-degree murder. 35-year-old Kelly Anderson could face up to 40 years in prison if convicted. The charge comes after a child in her care was taken to Sanford last Thursday. Anderson told police that the child self-injures himself and claimed one such episode the afternoon before the child was taken to the hospital. A preliminary autopsy states that the child likely died from asphyxia associated with blunt force trauma, and the official manner of death is listed as homicide. A fourth person has been charged in Clay County in the murder of 19-year-old Destiny Avery. An arrest warrant has been issued for 33-year-old Brandon Erbstoser and on aiding an offender in murder. 3 people are already in jail connected to that murder. 22-year-old David Erno and 26-year-old Andrea Payne stand charged with aiding an offender in second-degree murder. Authorities say they helped cover up Avery's gruesome murder. 27-year-old Ethan Broad is charged with the murder of Avery. Authorities say he told him he killed, dismembered, and threw her body in the trash. The Federal Aviation Administration will not answer questions about how it divided $10 billion in bailout money among airports across the country. Our national investigative team looks at what this money can and will be spent on. Here's Investigate TV's Lee Zurich with our COVID-19 tracker.
About 130 miles separates the airports in Kearney and Lincoln, Nebraska. The Kearney Airport services about 4,500 passengers a year. Lincoln, 150,000. But when the FAA divvied up CARES Act funding, it allocated $5.6 million to the Lincoln Airport. Kearney is set to get nearly $17 million.
Generally, it's not fair for one airport just down the road to receive a level of funding that's 18 times what another airport is getting in a similar region.
The Kearney Airport plans to use much of the money on capital improvement projects.
This will allow us to do the projects that we needed to get done.
The money Kearney is set to receive would cover the airport's operating budget for 28 years. Documents online show the FAA plan to cap the initial grant amount to about 4 years worth of airport funding. Airports like Kearney will get about a quarter of the money up front, but then need to reapply to the FAA for the remaining funds, unless the FAA changes the funding formula.
They can go back and revisit and decide to do something different with it, and that includes dispersing it a little differently, a little more fairly.
But right now it is set to go to these airports.
Right now, it's set to go to those airports, as far as I know.
Kearney's one of 108 airports we've uncovered set to receive a disproportionate amount of money, a total of almost $500 million allocated to smaller airports, enough money to cover many budgets for 20, 30, even almost 50 years.
Should a large portion of this CARES Act funding be going to fund capital improvement costs?
In my opinion, they should have reallocated the funding, used it for coronavirus problems for the next 4 years. That's fine. Who knows how long this is going to last? But reallocate the rest of the funding. The process would have been that it would have gone to larger airports. The St. Louis's and Kansas Cities of the world would have got more money. They could have lasted a little bit longer rather than giving so much money to the smaller airports. And I'm a smaller airport advocate, so it's hard for me to say that, but that would have been the fair thing to do.
We've asked the FAA 4 straight days for more information and if they would reallocate the money. For those 4 days, they told us we'll respond to you shortly. The people I need are in an all-day meeting. I don't have a response for you yet. They continue to have no updates, and in our last email, they never responded.
Meanwhile, a Tennessee Democratic congressman cited our team's reporting on this issue and is calling for a change in the funding formula. Congressman Steve Cohen says he wants the FAA to immediately suspend payments to airports until Congress addresses what he calls a severe funding flaw.